Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So, I apologise, it's been such a long time since I last posted. I've just been kind of busy ranking up my tanks and I may have got carried away. So if we take a quick look at America here. And I've managed to build up a good amount of crew XP points there, so the plan is to transfer them over to the tanks. I've already done a few crews. And yeah, I just got a bit carried away I guess. I didn't realise until I actually checked the other day how long it had been since I last posted. So yeah, we're just gonna get. I've got a couple of videos actually. It's not through lack of not playing. Like I said, I've been grinding pretty hard on the Allied side. So I've got a clip in the 109 Premium where I get 5 kills. I've also been using the P39 quite a lot. Another 5 kill game there, so I'll put that one up. I'll put both of them up soon. But yeah, today's video, I just want to show this Corsair F Mkii. So again, I've got a 5 kill gameplay here. So if we bring up the tech tree here, this is a 2.7. Sits at rank 2 in the British tree. And for all intents and purposes, it's basically a P47. So think a Hitler Bolt at 2.7 battle rating, which is pretty insane. Certainly at this BR, so this plane does 615 kilometers per hour. There is nothing at all that's going to match that. Just take my word for it. This is the fastest plane at this BR. Apart from maybe the Typhoon, but that's on the Allied side anyway. So you've got no worries from the opposition. Unless they give them a premium Typhoon, there's just nothing that can match this speed, even the Russians. Japanese, they just haven't got the speed anyway. Germans, yes, the 109s can match the speed in dives. But if you go into a shallow dive with this thing, and you just extend away, there is no way the 109 can retain that straight line speed. Whereas in the Corsair, you're just going to retain it. And you can quite easily go into a 5 or even a 10-degree zoom climb in this. And you're going to pretty much beat the 109 in the climb there. As long as you've got the speed, in American planes, there is nothing they can do. These are absolute speed machines. They're heavy planes, they can't particularly turn, but they've got speed, and speed, at least in the air, is pretty much everything. If you've got the speed, you control the fight. So obviously you don't want to be turning in this unless you absolutely have to. Ideally you want to be above the enemy, and you want to be at a safe distance at the very least, so at least 2 kilometers. So yeah, it's just a really fun plane. Like I said, it's a P47, so what's not to like? It's got 6 machine guns, 650 cals, which are going to do a lot of damage. The good thing about these as well, especially with stealth rounds, is you get a hell of a lot of incendiary bullets. So if we take a quick look here, you've got the armor piercing round, the AP round. You've got the API M8, which is incendiary, armor piercing. And you've also got the M1, which is also incendiary. So that there is a lot of incendiary rounds on the stealth. You're going to light a lot of planes up with that. Ground targets, if you don't like stealth, they're probably the next best thing. Again, you get a decent amount of incendiary, you get the armor piercing, and you also get the tracer round. But yeah, stealth is definitely the way you want to go with this. At least in Americans, I don't think it's that difficult to aim. 50 cals, they pretty much go where you shoot them. There's no drop, barely any drop. And yeah, they're just pretty easy to use in general. I also want to say the American planes are fairly safe planes to use. The play style is pretty simple. Doesn't really need you to be that good of a pilot. Okay, there are things you need to know in this, but that comes with experience. As long as you keep fast and you engage on favourable situations, you're going to be okay in this plane, and it's just a great plane for unlocking the British tree. And it's actually a good line earner as well, because it's premium, so you get 100% extra reward so 260% research points, and you get 340% Lions, which is a hell of a lot. So yeah, this could be a pretty good money earner. Obviously, you could do the same for the Americans, but it's not premium. So you have the F4U1A, which is basically the same plane. The only difference is it's got the clipped wings, so... not the clipped wings, rather, it's got the original wings, so... The British one, at least this is what I've been told, they cut the wings off, so they're more squared here. They cut them off basically to fit them in the carriers, that's what I heard anyway. And it does diminish the performance a little bit, so the American one is favourable. But it certainly doesn't stop you playing this. I mean, I got 5 kills in this game. I've got 2 kills on a regular basis, even 3 kill games, so it's pretty consistent. But yeah, it's just a really fun plane, so I'm going to jump into the clip now. I've got commentary on it, so I'm going to be commentating the whole clip, and I've also got the controller overlay active, so you guys can see how I'm using the controller. Although, like I said, the gameplay is pretty simple. You know, this isn't 109 stuff where you're watching your energy all the time. For the most part, it's just extending away, working the angles, and just looking for favourable situations. So yeah, enjoy the clip, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so we're back on Operation Normandy in the Corsair F Mkii, playing as the British. And this is going to be a pretty much typical Allied game here. Around about 75% of these guys you see to my left here are going to end up dying in the first couple of minutes. Simply because they did not side climb. You know, American planes, they need speed and they need altitude so they can convert that altitude into speed. And if you take either one of them away, they are pretty much useless as planes. You know, they cannot do anything. Once you get slow in these heavy planes, big heavy planes, you know, they just cannot compete with the turn rate. Even a 109 is going to easily outturn one of these. Even a Focke-Wulf 190 will outturn this. So yeah, you need speed and you need altitude, which is why I'm side climbing here. And by the way, the best climb speed for these American planes, for the majority of them, is roughly 300 to 320 indicated airspeed. As you can see there by the dial in the cockpit, I'm climbing at between 3 and 4 feet per second at roughly a 10-degree climb. And I like to climb in kind of a patrol pattern in these planes. You know, they're not great climbers, and at the same time, as I'm side climbing, I like to just keep behind the team. So if any kind of situation arises, I can pick up some speed and just swoop in and give them the assist. So yeah, rather than just climb, you know, miles away from the team, I try and fly in a zigzag pattern, so I'm just kind of behind them, which is pretty much what I'm doing here. I see the BV come in, and I was kind of thinking, you know, I'll have a go at this guy. I've got the firepower, but yeah, he's a fair bit higher than me. Like I said, this isn't the greatest climber. So the XP38 going for him there. Unfortunately, he's going to wind up dead, which is a bit of a waste because that's a good plane. But he just take the BV out. I get a sneaky hit on him just to get the assist. Now he's on fire, so there's no point trying to steal the kill there. And the XP38 just got taken out. And that's the BV out as well. So at least you don't have to worry about him. It's only one, but you know, they could potentially turn the game around at the end. Especially if they manage to sneak by us. So I see the team down there. There's a lot of enemies. I mean, that is a lot of 109s and 190s. And I was thinking about going down, actually make a pass at this guy here. But then I think, hold on, what am I doing here? If I do this, I'm going to get one kill maybe. They're going to wind up dying anyway because there's just too many planes down there. You know, the majority of them are 190s. You got a P-51 down there, like I said earlier at the beginning. a P-51 at low altitude on low speed is just useless. So he turns up, he winds up dying. Spitfire just died, and yeah, they're all dead. So typical Allied team here. And it's just annoying because that could have been avoided if they had simply climbed. So we're just going to kind of keep pressure on them here. I know I've got some Spitfires left, so I'm kind of hoping they're going to survive and they can come and assist me here. So I'm not going to commit to anything too much here. I'm just going to keep the pressure on them, try and keep them low. And as soon as they turn, I'm just going to pull off and go back up because I don't want to give up my speed or my altitude. So really, I'm just buying time, waiting for an opportunity to arise where they make a mistake. And for the most part, that's what you do in American planes. That's how you fly these things. You don't turn. I mean, okay, if that was just a lone 190, I would have committed to that and I probably would have got the kill. Because at the end of the day, I've got the energy on him. I've got the altitude, I've got the speed. So for the most part, I would hold all the cards. And even though the 190 is a superior plane, it outturns me. It definitely out-energy fights me in the vertical. So yeah, it's definitely a hard plane to face, but the Corsair can deal with it. So again, I'm just keeping pressure on him. I see him turn and I pull off. And I go straight back up. Remember, there's more than one down there. There's at least 4 planes below me now. So it would be almost suicidal to attempt any sort of commitment now. So I'm just using the pitch there with the flaps. Again, I'm constantly checking the scoreboard just to see how many are left. It's always a good idea to keep track of the number of planes, especially on your team as well, just so you know what you're going to be potentially dealing with. And like I said, for the most part, this is a simple plane to fly. There's nothing fancy going on here. There's no 109 tricks. I mean, okay, you can work the angles like you can in the 109, but you have to be fairly experienced to do that. And I will be doing a little of that later on against the 190. But for the most part, it's just keeping your speed, keeping your altitude, and just looking around, observing. I'm looking for them to make mistakes, because the longer you do this, the more impatient they're going to get. And yeah, they're going to attempt to do anything to get the kill. And that's when you can exploit them. So I'm turning back around here and I see a dot below me. Fairly confident the Spitfire can deal with the 190 that just pops up at the base there. There's 2 Spitfires against one 190. And they've also got the AA, so I'm not too worried about them. Again, I'm just kind of keeping these guys busy here because the last thing I want now is these 190s heading over to the friendlies there. So here we see the plane go under us, and I'm fairly confident I can get him because he's just below me. And that is the first kill of the game there. So we simply exploited his impatience there. He was climbing hard, trying to get up here, and that meant he was slow, and that's why I was able to get guns on him so easy. He was directly under me. So I see the 109 with the Spitfire here. He's engaged. He's climbing back up, so he's going to be slow. And that means we can safely attempt an attack run here. Now unfortunately the rudder kind of locked up there. That is one of the problems with this plane. You can certainly control it, but you have to use the roll to counter it, and unfortunately I wasn't quick enough there. But even so, we managed to put pressure on him, and that helps out the Spitfire. You know, 2v1 is always a favourable situation. So I'm not too bothered about the 109. I'm confident that Spitfire can deal with him. So I'm just going to focus on the 190 here. I call it out. Unfortunately, the Spitfire doesn't quite get that, and he goes for the head-on. Luckily, he does pull out at the last second, but that could have gone very wrong. Like I've said before, head-ons, you know, there's a 50-50% chance of either one of you coming out. So if you can avoid it, definitely avoid it. So we see the 190 coming back up here, and I'm fairly confident I've got the speed, so I just extend my climb a little bit more with the pitch, and then we go up and over, dive down on him. He does the right thing here, he extends away, and I pull off, because we've got the 109 up here again. And I'm just checking the minimap, and I see he's engaged with the Spitfire still, so I kind of do commit to this a little bit. Again, I see the 190 has picked up a lot of speed in the dive, so I pull up out of his guns, roll off to the side. And again, I'm just kind of waiting for him to make a mistake. I'm just working the angles and keeping out of the range of his guns. And he makes his first mistake here, so he pulls right in front of it, and I'm able to get a good burst into the profile of his plane there. I get a critical, and then go up and over again, drop behind him. And the Spitfire is about to come in to give us an assist here, so I've got no worries about the 109 now. He's dealt with that. Went to a yo-yo up and over to avoid overshooting there. And there's absolutely nothing he can do there. So we get a critical in his wing, and he can't pull out of that, which is the second kill of the game. Now, like I've said before, 190s, Corsairs, P-51s, they're all somewhat similar planes. And if you give up your speed and your altitude in these planes, they're just helpless. You know, you can't turn in them once they're slow. They're just like a sitting duck. Honestly, he did play fairly well there. He didn't make that many mistakes. And obviously he had a Spitfire to deal with as well as myself. You know, he was damaged. I think he had an oil leak or something, so his time was probably limited. So we see the 190 here. We turn in to give the team an assist. Again, you always want to go for a plane that's distracted in this plane. So I was hoping he wouldn't see me here. Unfortunately, he just catches me at the last second and he tries to force a head-on. So I simply pull up out of the range of his guns. For some reason he attempts to follow me in the vertical. So I just bring out the takeoff flaps. He drops down before me. I kick the plane over with the rudder into a hammerhead maneuver, and that allows me to drop behind him. So we're slotting on his 6 o'clock. Again, we've got a nice full profile shot there of his plane. Managed to set him on fire, and that there is the third kill of the game. So 3 really simple kills there. I didn't really have to work too hard for them. For the most part, I was just keeping my speed and being patient, waiting for opportunities to arise. and just playing more of a support role for the team than anything. And that's how you play Americans, to be honest. You know, all the American planes are somewhat similar to this. You've got the P-51, the P-47s, you've got the Cobras, which, okay, they can kind of do everything, but they still fit into this playstyle. So in my opinion, the Americans are like a safe playstyle where you can use your speed to get out of bad situations, and if you don't want to get yourself into any kind of engagements, you can just use your speed to keep anybody away from you. So it's one of those planes where you don't have to engage if you don't want to. You can almost dictate the fight. So like I did there at the beginning, I just put the pressure on them, I kept diving down, then pulling back up, and that one guy grew impatient. You know, he was climbing hard, and I caught him when he was slow. And that's how you've got to play these planes. You know, if allied players use these planes to their strengths, honestly, allied teams would just be absolutely unstoppable. In my opinion, American planes are some of the best, if not the best, planes in the game. You know, speed in the air, I think I've said this before, speed is everything. So, obviously, speed equals energy. And energy is what controls fights. So if you have the speed, you've got the energy, and you've got the upper hand. You control the fight, and you can force them to play to your plane's strengths and against theirs. You know, there's a reason why when you get into the higher tier, the planes get quicker. So even the 109s, they focus less on turn rate, and they focus more on straight line speed and performance. And that's why this plane is so good. It's almost like playing a 4.7, a 2.7. It sounds crazy, but that's exactly what it is, and the speed is the reason why it's such a good plane. You know, in my opinion, the Corsairs are a great introductory line to the American tree. This one plane is going to help you figure out how to fly the Americans, and at 2.7 you can have the freedom to just learn and practice without really any opposition. You know, there's nothing at this tier, nothing at this BR that's going to even come close to matching your speed. Probably your worst threat is going to be the 190s and the 109s. You know, even Russia and Japanese, they really have nothing. The main problem with the Japanese would be another Corsair, so the Japanese have a Corsair, a premium one, and it's essentially the same plane. So that's probably going to be your main and your only threat in this. And honestly, you do get a lot of Japanese games playing this, so do bear that in mind and watch out for it. But yeah, for the most part, this is just a really easy, fun plane for learning how to play Americans and just for figuring out things. And at the same time, because it's a premium, it's British as well, so you're going to be earning a ton of lions with this, and at the same time you're going to be unlocking your British tree. So yeah, that's about it for the game. We just end up taking out the IL-2 there at the end, just before the tickets drain. And that was a 5-kill game in the Corsair F Mkii. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I've got a couple more clips which I'll try and put out later in the week. So I've got the P39 clip, and I've also got the premium 109 for the Americans. Both are 5-kill games, so I'll try and put them up. I'm also attempting to get some dual footage where I've got the controller overlay, so I can show you guys and explain how to duel on the controller. So there's all that to look forward to. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now, so thanks for watching, I really appreciate it. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.